Wines for all being here today. Thank you for being here to remember Memorial Day. We do not celebrate, we pause to remember. On behalf of Mayor Scott Galvin, all the elected officials here today, Bob Davis, the Veteran Services Officer of the City of Woburn, myself, George POOLE, Commander of the United Veterans Council, welcome here and thank you for being here today once again to remember Memorial Day. This time we're going to have the raising of the flag, with the posting of the colors are already on the common. This time the color guard, led by Charles Culhane from the DAV, Tom Quigley, VFW, Dennis Devine from American Legion, will now raise the American flag. At this time, I invite all of you to join me in reciting the Pledge of Allegiance. Colors go to present arms. Anybody in uniform, any veterans, please render the traditional military hand salute during the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Two. Colors, order, arms. Parade, rest. Again, it's Memorial Day. It is the only holiday of our year, as I have mentioned in the past, we do not celebrate. We pause to remember. Remember all of our great heroes that have given their lives for our country. Look around you on these light posts. All young men from Woburn who proudly served their country. They left home, probably said to their mother, their fathers, girlfriends, I'll be home, I won't be gone that long. Sadly, they never came back. They gave their lives for our country. That's what today is about. I've mentioned this before. All the veterans that are here today, we served our country, but it's not about us today. We're very fortunate. We came home. Some of us came home in good shape. Some came up, banged up a little bit. I know there's Purple Heart veterans that are here today. But the main thing is we were able to come home and carry on with our lives. These were young men, teenagers that gave their lives serving our country. We remember them. And I just want to read one little brief comment that I got out of an article from the the Veterans of Foreign War magazine from Commander-in-Chief Fitzmelichek, and he wrote, "How do we repay the men and women who have died while serving, defending the nation in uniform? Remembrance. But sacrifice without remembrance is meaningless. The freedom of all Americans enjoy were paid for with their lives of uniformed troops who few of us actually knew. That's why Memorial Day exists. It is a day to pause as a nation and be solemnly grateful for those who sacrificed their lives in defense of our way of life. And while every citizen can observe this special day in a public way, Memorial Day, tell the world why Memorial Day is important to you. One thing will always be true. Those who die in uniform defending our nation are immortalized forever. Their names will live on for the rest, while the rest of us have been forgotten. They are true heroes. They are forever grateful. The world remembers their name. Help remember the world remember their names. And right on our monuments over here, all these names over here on our big monument that have a star on there. All the individual monuments with the names of our great Woburn heroes that gave their lives for our country. Their names will live on forever. We're going to be long gone, but their names will always be there. And I hope in generations to come that the younger generations will know what Memorial Day is about and carry on this tradition of remembering them. We're now going to have an opening prayer from Deacon Phil Hardcastle. Deacon Phil.
As we thank God for the blessings, especially those who have gone before us, I would like to share a poem with which we'll reflect the men and women who died in defense of America. It's A Road Not Taken by Robert Frost. Two roads diverged in a yellow wood, and sorry I could not travel both and be one traveler. Long I stood and looked down one as far as I could to where it bent in the undergrowth. Then took the other as just as fair, and having perhaps the better claim because it was grassy and wanted wear. Though as for that, the passing there had worn them really about the same. And both that morning equally lay in leaves no step had trodden black. Oh, I kept the first for another day, yet knowing how way leads on to way, I doubt if I should ever come back. I shall be telling this with a sigh somewhere ages and ages hence. Two roads diverge in a wood, and I took the one less traveled by, and that has made all the difference.
Thank you, Deacon Phil. Just thinking back of our last hostile action where we lost great American heroes last year, 26th of October, 2021. One Army soldier, one Navy corpsman, 11 Marines lost their lives in Kabul, Afghanistan. Especially remembering Sergeant JOANNE Rosario Picado, Sergeant United States Marine Corps Lawrence, Mass. So those are our last 13 great American heroes that gave their lives for our country. A great part of our tradition is Joanne Campbell singing the program and singing the Armed Forces Medley, and she's here today and she does a great job. Please give a great welcome to Joanne Campbell. She's now going to sing the Armed Forces Medley. Joanne.
And it's
job once again. At this time, it gives me great pleasure to introduce the mayor of our city to say a few words, Mayor Scott Galvin. Mayor Galvin? Mayor Galvin, how many years have we been doing this?
Thanks, George. This is an honor for me to be here, and George does a great job. We all know that, so let's give him a great round of applause for his years of service. As we know, today is a very solemn day, and one of the things that stands out in my mind, and I'm sure everybody who's behind me, is the great support that we give to our veterans and those who have served for us over the years. We always seem to see a lot of the same faces in the crowd, but it grows every year, and it grows with new people coming in. Because Woburn really does care about those people who served for us and made this country so great. So thank you, everybody, for being here. I appreciate that, and I'm sure everybody does. When you look around, you look around the city, there's commons, there's squares that are decorated in honor of our great people who served for us in the past, sacrificed their lives. Also, if you look around, George had mentioned earlier, there are some beautiful banners that honor our fallen heroes. And you don't see that in any communities, but we have a very special historian, Kathy Lucero. I saw her earlier, this Kathy. But Kathy's energy is boundless, and her commitment to veterans and those who served is incredible. And I think some of the veterans here who know how she cares about people. So Kathy, thank you very much for everything you do for our city. I also want to recognize my good friend Tom Lawton standing way up in the back there from the golf and ski. And every year you'll see the beautiful flowers hanging from the common. So Tom and the golf and ski, thank you for decorating our common for Memorial Day. But as we say, today is a solemn day, and we're here to recognize what the brave men and women who have done for our country, died for our country to allow us to do what we do on a daily basis. We take those liberties sometimes for granted, but we wouldn't be able to do what we do without them. So their service is greatly appreciated by all of us. Their family sacrifice can't be thanked enough. So thank you to all your veterans, the families who served for us. And in closing, just want to talk about, we all had a great night. Celtics won last night. I'm so proud of the Celtics. Good win. They're going on to play the Warriors, the Golden State Warriors. And their coach, Steve Kerr, who I have a lot of respect for, particularly in light of the tragic shootings in Texas, has said enough is enough. It's time. It's time for the Senate to take some action, to take some common sense action to adopt HRA, which it's a common sense action to do background checks on those people who want to get a gun or permits. So urge our senators to take some action and to say enough is enough. It's time to end the senseless violence without infringing on people's rights to carry a gun, their Second Amendment rights. But this is common sense legislation, and we need it to stop. So let's just have a moment of silence for everybody who's shot down in Texas. One moment of silence, please. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor Galvin. You see, we have the officials all behind me. We have one official here today. He's not elected. He was appointed to the position, a Woburn resident. Anthony Langone, a veteran of the United States Air Force, who was just recently appointed the Community Affairs Liaison for Veterans Affairs for the Commonwealth of Massachusetts. I just did want to recognize Anthony, congratulate him on his new job, and wish him very well. We're now going to have a reading of the Governor's Proclamation by a member of the Woburn Memorial High School Marching Band, Mickey Sumner.
Whereas, while the nation was still recovering from the horrors of the Civil War, people in cities and towns across the country gathered to honor those Union and Confederate soldiers who had given their lives celebrating the first Decoration Day. And whereas, after World War I, the nation came together again to honor those who had fallen in the service of their country. Renamed Memorial Day, the last Monday in May, is when people remember and honor the memory of all the men and women who fought and died in all American wars and conflicts. And whereas, throughout our country's history, thousands of Massachusetts citizens have fought in wars and conflicts to defend our safety and way of life. And whereas their legacy of patriotism and dedication to country is an inspiration to all Americans, and whereas it is appropriate that all Massachusetts citizens remember the bravery of those who gave their lives so that their sacrifices serve as a reminder of the cost of our freedom. Now, therefore, I, Charles D. Baker, Governor of the Commonwealth of Massachusetts, do hereby proclaim May 30th, 2022 to be Memorial Day, and urge all citizens of the Commonwealth to take cognizance of this event and participate fittingly in its observance. Given at the Executive Chamber in Boston, this first day of May in the year 2022, and of the independence of the United States of America, the 245th.
Thank you, Mickey. We'll now have a selection by the Woburn Memorial High School Marching Band. Thank you. This time I'm going to invite Mayor Scott Galvin to come back to the podium. Mayor Galvin.
Thanks, George. I'm going to introduce our new veterans agent. I know most of you are used to seeing Larry Giuseppe, who put in 12 years of service, and he's definitely missed. We have a new veterans agent, Bob Davis, who's taking his place. Just a couple words about Bob before he comes up. Bob's a Marine veteran, served our country for 4 years. Also well known down the Boys Club, where he was the athletic director down there. Just a great guy, and he's going to do a fantastic job for the veterans in our community. Bob, come on.
Thank you, Mayor Galvin, President Concanon, the rest of the City Council, thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you. As Mayor Galvin mentioned, my name is Bob Davis, United States Marine Corps veteran, and I'm Director of Veteran Services for the City of Woburn. I'm honored and humbled to be speaking with you today on such an important occasion. We're here today to honor our service members and to remember the sacrifices that they have made in honor of duty and of selfless service to country. The idea for Memorial Day, originally called Decoration Day, rose from the ashes of the Civil War. Following the Civil War in 1866, in which at least 620,000 Americans, both Union and Confederate, made the ultimate sacrifice. In 1968, Congress passed the Uniform Monday Holiday Act, which led to, in 1971, that same law declared Memorial Day as a federally observed holiday. Service members we honor today came from all walks of life, but they shared several fundamental qualities. They possessed courage, pride, determination, selflessness, dedication to duty, and integrity. All the qualities needed to serve a cause larger than oneself. Many of them didn't ask to leave their homes to fight on distant battlefields. Many didn't even volunteer. They didn't go to war because they loved fighting. They were called to be part of something bigger than themselves. They were ordinary people who responded in extraordinary ways in extreme times. They rose to the nation's call because they wanted to protect the nation, which has given them and us so much. It was once said, the bravest are surely those who have the clearest vision of what is before them. Honor, duty, and danger alike. And yet notwithstanding, go out to meet it. Today, people throughout our country will gather together to remember, to honor, and pay gratitude to those brave men and women who served and sacrificed for our country. Our gathering here today is just one small spark in the flame of pride that burns across this great nation today and every day. So on behalf of our city's veterans, those here in spirit, thank you for attending. God bless you. God bless your families. God bless our troops. And God bless America. Thank you.
Yeah, Bob, on behalf of the United Veterans Council, welcome to be a member of the United Veterans Council. Bob got cast into this thing, and I know that Larry Giuseppe and I know Donna Cashin work with him to get him acclimated, get him going into his new position. And also for me personally, I do want to thank Larry, and I want to thank Donna. She's right over there for the great job she did of assisting us over the years. Thank you, Donna. We're going to miss you, but she did a great job getting all this information. My job is easy up here. I only have to read the script. But all the hard work that's done up at the mayor's office, up at the veterans office, it was done by, prior to Bob, by Larry, but Donna was the main person. Donna, thank you so much. Wish you well in your next endeavor. And Mayor Galvin stole a little bit of my thunder, but I also did want to thank Kathy Lucero for the great job that she's done in the preservation, the history of veterans, with all these beautiful portraits around. That was her project, and from me personally, Kathy, thank you so much. We're now going to have a reading of Logan's Order from a member of the Woburn Memorial High School Marching Band. Molly COYNE is going to read Logan's Order. This was written by the Commander-in-Chief of the GAR. The GAR was the Grand Army of the Republic. It was a veterans organization formed after the Civil War, the federal troops, not the Confederate troops. And you hear the words that it was written. A lot of people feel some controversy, but a lot of people feel this is how Memorial Day started. And again, it was written back after the end of the Civil War. So, as I said, the Grand Army of the Republic was the American Legion of its day. At this time, it gives me pleasure to invite Molly COYNE from the Woburn Memorial High School Marching Band to read Logan's Order. Molly?
Headquarters, Grand Army of the Republic, General Orders Number 11, Washington, D.C., May 5th, 1868. 1. The 30th day of May, 1868, is designated for the purpose of strewing with flowers or otherwise decorating the graves of comrades who died in defense of their country during the late rebellion, and whose bodies now lie in almost every city, village, and hamlet churchyard in the land. In this observance, no form of ceremony is prescribed, but posts and comrades will be in their own way arrange such fitting services and testimonials of respect as circumstances may permit. We are organized comrades, as our regulations tell us, for the purpose, among other things, of preserving and strengthening those kind and fraternal feelings which have bound together the soldiers, sailors, and Marines who united to suppress the late rebellion. What can aid more to assure this result than cherishing tenderly the memory of our heroic dead, who made their breasts a barricade between our country and its foes? Their soldier lives were in travail of freedom to a race in chains, and their deaths the tattoo of rebellious tyranny in arms. We should guard their graves with sacred vigilance. All that the consecrated wealth and taste of the nation can add to their adornment and security is but a fitting tribute to the memory of her slain defenders. Let no wanton foot tread rudely on such hallowed ground. Let pleasant paths invite the coming and going of reverent visitors and fond mourners. Let no vandalism of avarice or neglect, no ravages of time testify to the present or to the coming generations that we have forgotten as a people the cost of a free and undivided republic. If other eyes grow dull, other hands slack, and other hearts cold in the solemn trust, ours shall keep it well as long as the light and warmth of life remain to us. Let us then, at the time appointed, gather around their sacred remains and garland the passionless mounds above them with the choicest flowers of springtime. Let us raise above them the dear old flag they saved from dishonor. Let us in this solemn presence renew our pledges to aid and assist those who have left us among sacred charge upon our nation's gratitude, the soldiers and sailors, widow and orphan. 2. It is the purpose of the Commander-in-Chief to inaugurate this observance with the hope that it will be kept up from year to year, while a survivor of the war remains to honor the memory of his departed comrades. He earnestly desires that the public press to lend its family aid in bringing notice of comrades in all parts of the country in time of simultaneous compliance therewith. 3. Department commanders will use efforts to make this order effective. By order of John A. Logan, Commander-in-Chief, and P. Chipman.
Thank you, Molly. Molly mentioned in the thing, they talk about departments. What departments are states. Today, the DAV, the Legion, and the VFW, we are known as the Department of Massachusetts, so that's what that refers to in the different states. I got a chance to speak to Mickey and Molly just before the parade started. They are both seniors at Woburn High School, and they're going to college. And we want to wish them well. And any other seniors in the band, we want to wish you well. You're going to college or whatever you might be deciding to do. Thank you. We're not going to have a reading of the honor roll of deceased veterans that are known to us that have passed away since last Veterans Day. Colors. Then shut. Right shoulder, arms. Present arms. Paul Robert Alley, Vietnam. John C. Anesi, Korean. Warren Elalian, World War II. Albert J. Balistreri, World War II. Robert E. Bashad, Korean. John A. Barrett, peacetime. James C. Bigley Jr., Vietnam. Samuel Palmer Blanchard, Vietnam. Richard Bratt, Korean. Robert Francis Cannon, Korean. Frank W. Carroll, Vietnam. Joseph Castelloni, Vietnam. Edward Anthony Craven, World War II. James W. Cruise, Vietnam. Thomas Richard Cuff Jr., Vietnam. Arthur Cummings Jr., Korean. Robert J. Curran, peacetime. Charles Edward Dieckhoff, peacetime. William D. Premio Jr., Vietnam. Noel F. Doherty, Vietnam. Ronald F. Downing, Vietnam. Joseph J. Doyle, Korean. Lawrence B. Flynn, World War II. Robert Ralph Follow, Vietnam. Sherwood Fuller Jr., Korean. Anthony J. Gatto, Korean. John P. Geary Jr., Vietnam. John A. Gilbertson, Global War. Richard F. Gately Sr., World War II. Richard F. Gorman, Korean. Thomas F. Grady, Korean. Edward S. Gripsig, peacetime. Gerald J. Garino, Jr., World War II. James L. Hawkins, Gulf War. John N. Haskell, Vietnam. Cambridge Police Department officer and Woburn resident, Lawrence R. Hudson, Iraq and Desert Storm. Charles E. Kelly, Vietnam. Joseph E. Lavakia, Korean. Thomas Allen Liberty, Gulf War. Louis A. Longo, World War II. David W. Lundquist, peacetime. James Joseph McGuire, Vietnam. Edward John Jack Ma, Korean. Retired Woburn Police Department Chief, Philip L. Mahoney, Vietnam. David Edward Majeski, peacetime. Peter R. Mannion, Vietnam. Thomas W. Mannion, Vietnam. Darren Minokian, World War II. Anthony F. Marciano, Korean. Wilfred McAvoy, Korean. Thomas B. McEwen, Vietnam. Angelo M. Sonny Morandi, Korean. Theodore Ted Morosis, Vietnam. Richard J. O'Keefe, Vietnam. Louis Omer Pelletier, World War II. Joseph F. Procopio, peacetime. Charles W. Rathbun, Korean. Albert S. Reddington, Korean. James J. Riley, Korean. George E. Rooney, Korean. Edward P. Sampson, World War II. Joseph J. Scalise, Korean. Ralph S. Seastrom, Korean and Vietnam. Robert Francis Shields, Korean. John George Simon Jr., World War II. James E. Hacker Simons, Korean. George Ernest Simons Jr., Korean. Ronald David Bo Stander, Korean. Robert T. Stanton, Vietnam. Thomas W. Stearns, Korean. Thomas J. Toomey, peacetime. Theodore H. Trudell Jr., Korean. David F. Walsh, World War II and Korean. William N. Wickwire, Cold War. Paul R. McDonough, Vietnam. And Michael A. McGann, United States Marine Corps, World War II. And may they all rest in peace. Colors, order, arms. Parade rest. You just heard me read approximately 74 names, and sadly the last name I read was Mike McGann. Mike was a proud veteran of the United States Marine Corps. He served in many actions, many landings in the South Pacific, and he always stood right over here with his red Marine Corps hat. This past November 10th was Veterans Day, and we were able to get Mike to come down to the Irish American Club for the Marine Corps birthday on November 10th. And Mike was so proud to be there, and he was telling us all, I'm 99 years old, I'll be 100 on January 3rd. Sadly, and he says, I can't wait to wait for that day to turn 100. Sadly, it didn't happen. On November 17th, Mike closed his eyes and passed away, but he was just a great friend and a great hero to us, to our country, all he did. And I know he's going to be missed, and I just want to take the chance to mention his name. He was a great supporter of all of our programs. Invite Deacon Phil Hardcastle to come back for benediction.
God our Father, we ask you this Memorial Day to continue to hold close to your heart in the kingdom that is heaven all those who have given their lives for the defense of freedom, from the founding of our great country until now. We also ask you to remember all veterans of the armed forces who have served and continue to serve this day around the world. Bless them always and bless their families who anxiously await their return. We ask this, Father, of you. Amen.
Thank you, Deacon Phil. Just your chance to say a few thank yous for great security, safety and security here today. I wanted offer my thanks to the Woburn Fire Department and the Woburn Police Department for all the support they give us. And let's recognize them as our first responders. Also, the great assistance from the Department of Public Works and the Parks Department for the great job they do preparing, the common and all the squares around the city. I want to thank Charlie Culhane for assisting decorating the veteran squares of the city. And I want to say a thank you to the Moose Club. They had a breakfast yesterday. They invited all veterans to come up for breakfast. Thanks to them. Throne Depot was assisting us with a couple of portable toilets over at the fire station in East Woburn. And just a thank to all the people who have assisted here today to make today's program great. We're now going to have a firing of volley by the rifle squad from the American Legion, Post 101. There'll be the playing of the taps. There'll be the singing of the national anthem by JOANNE Campbell, and combined with the two bands, the high school band and the city band, with the national anthem. Riflemen, when ready, fire 3 volleys.
Say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight on the ramparts we watched, where so gallantly streaming, and the
Just Tom Quigley, the commander of the VFW, wanted me to mention that, first of all, the national headquarters of the VFW has asked the local post to give back to the community. And the Woburn VFW post is going to have a food drive, and anything they collect will go to the Woburn Council of Social Concerns. So next Saturday, Woburn VFW will have a food drive, and they are going to be collecting food up at their headquarters from about 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. next Saturday. So if you can assist them with their food drive, it'd be greatly appreciated. When I read the honor roll, I read the name of William DePremio Jr. It's William DePremio Sr. His name will get read again on Veterans Day. In closing, I just want to mention that I know we have parents and grandparents that are here today that have children and grandchildren currently serving in the military. On behalf of the United Veterans Council and myself personally, please, we want to thank them for their sacrifice they're making, the families they're making, having their loved ones away from home. I do know there will be some Woburn students graduating very shortly from high school that are going to enter the military. And to those families that are here today, we also want to thank you and thank them for what they're about to do to serve our country and the sacrifices they're going to be making being away from home. This does conclude this portion of our recognition of Memorial Day. We're going to form the parade right again over here in front of the old Warren Parkers and march up to Woburn Common. To all of you who are here today, thank you so much for being here. That you could have gone out and bought a new car today or gone and bought a refrigerator, but you came here to remember Memorial Day, and that is so important to us, and we thank you so much for doing that. Once again, see you in the fall. God bless all of you, and God bless the United States of America. Thank you so much. I'm going to ask all marchers to form up right away in the street, please. Thank you.